to reason. Will you open your eyes? It's a wonder what you'll find with an open mind. You may be surprised. Yeah, gotta get away from this illusion for the sake of the world. This delusion, it's gotta go. Yeah.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Atheist Experience. I'm your host, Russell Glasser, and with me today is my co-host, Don Baker.
Hey, good to be here.
Today is Sunday, January 26, 2014. We are a live call-in public access television show based in Austin, Texas, dedicated to promoting positive atheism and the separation of church and state. We're available through live streaming video at ustream.tv. The official Atheist Experience website is www.atheist-experience.org or com. And you can provide feedback to the show by commenting on the official show blog at freethoughtblogs.com/AXP, or you can email us at tv@atheist-community.org. If you enjoy this show, please check out our related other podcasts, The Nonprofits, which is currently airing on the first and third Wednesdays of the month, and Godless Bitches. You can find links at the Atheist Experience website. Now, this coming Wednesday is a fifth Wednesday of the month, so we'll be skipping this week, but then next week, February 5th, we'll be bringing you a new show. As always, the cast and crew of the Atheist Experience will be headed off to Threadgills after the show. That's at 301 West Riverside Drive, and we'll all arrive around 6 p.m. If people care to join us, they may. I've got one upcoming announcement. Last summer, I was plugging this event, which was sort of an online conference called FTB Con, run by the fine folks at Free Thought Blogs, where our official show blog is hosted. I realize this is short notice, but there's FTB Con 2 is coming up this weekend. It's going to be an entire weekend of interesting, cool speakers doing Google Hangouts, like one or 2 hour long panels on various topics. You can check out the proceedings at FTBCon. Check the Atheist Experience website where there's a post about it and a link there. But you should know that if you would like to follow the Atheist Experience involvement in it, on Saturday, this coming Saturday at 11 a.m., and it's running from January 31st through February 2nd. Jen Peoples and I will be doing a panel on parenting. We will be rejoined by Dale McGowan, who was once on the show, and also Elise Anders from Skepchick. And then Sunday evening, before this show at 3 p.m., I'm going to be joining the hosts of the Reasonable Doubts podcast for some counter-apologetics paneling. So see you guys there. How are you doing today, Don?
I'm doing all right. It's good to see you.
You too.
And today I'm talking about yet another failure show. This will be my 21st in the series, although I've hit this topic, this sort of topic earlier. And you know,
you've got almost 2 years worth of these topics now. Congratulations!
I've still got a long way to go. This is,
so much fail.
There's so much fail, so few gods, and I got another little slogan: is faith is such an excellent way to be wrong. Anyway, so today the topic is using people, and by using people I mean using people as a means to an end, or like a tool, rather than as like a free moral agent. So that's what I'm talking about here. And Christians claim that humans have a divine nature and that human life is sacred, and so why would you use people as tools? Why would you take advantage of them? And what use would God have for tools, right? If he's all powerful and complete, he shouldn't have a need for these sorts of things. He shouldn't. But con artists and parasites would certainly have a need to use people as tools, and they would jump at the chance of controlling and manipulating the ignorant and willing. And so the fact that Christianity uses people in this way demonstrates to me that it's got a fraudulent nature, and that's another failure of Christianity. So there are lots of examples of using people. Previously, Tracy has talked about the indoctrination of children, which is a big one, exploitation of children. That's episode 832. And I also talked about spinning suffering, to kind of giving religious meaning to the suffering of people, effectively using their pain for religious purposes. That was episode 622. Other topics I'm going to save for later: exploiting the poor and innocent, slavery, and state favoritism of religion. We'll talk about those later. Today I want to talk about using gays, marriage and divorce, and women as child bearers as examples of using. So using gays, since before the 70s, Christians have successfully brought their church, bought and sold the hatred of gays in their churches, and this has been based largely on propaganda and lies. Especially a guy by the name of Paul Cameron. If you look him up, you'll see that he's a religious fraud. And they did things like conflate homosexuality and pedophilia, and said things like AIDS is God's wrath on homosexuals. And having an enemy is red meat for rabid believers, and it made a lot of ministers and ministries rich and powerful. And it's like the gays are the new Jews. They used to do that to the Jews, and now they found a new target of the gays. And this tells you a lot, I think, about Christians and their leaders, that they would do this. But it's backfired, thankfully. Gays and lesbians are approaching normalcy now, and the Christian power grab is fizzling out. Many churches are divided over ordination of gays and supporting same-sex relationships and even marriage. And these schisms tend to break up the churches and make them less powerful. And U.S. laws are now supporting gays and lesbians. And these Christian lies have proven false. And think of pedophile priests, as the true sources of pedophilia and that you should watch out for. And this Paul Cameron guy got exposed for his $27.50 a page science that he was promoting, because that was the only checks and balances involved there, is his paycheck. The American Family Association has been rightly labeled as a hate group, and young people are leaving the religion in droves because they're tired of the vindictive and judgmental nature of Christianity. So using gays has proven out to be a true failure, I think. What about marriage and divorce? Well, for Christianity and other religions, marriage is mostly about making babies and indoctrinating them into the faith. And so the religion institution of marriage has been kind of co-opted by the religion as potentially useful for religions or useful for society. And so they've put all sorts of sexual restrictions up, like sex outside of marriage. Even masturbation is forbidden, and early marriage is encouraged as a means to have sex, or for young people to have sex. And you can see examples of this. Rick Santorum has commented a lot about marriage, and there's an interesting article that he wrote on or a lecture he gave on the Heritage Foundation website. And for Rick, marriage should be effectively used for the needs of society. So it's a little like taking two people's love and perverting it for the needs of something else. And he thinks that's a good thing to do. And I liken this to like conscription. Patriotism might be a good thing, but he thinks that should be used, that your sense of patriotism should be maybe used for, forcing you to fight wars or something. So it's taken out of your hands at that point. And Catholic doctrine has been this sort of thing all along. They encourage no contraception and to have as many children as God will bless you with, and maybe the 13th will become a priest. That was kind of the idea. But even this has proven out to be a failure. Popular opinion has never supported the conscription of love attitude that these Christians have, and it's moving in the favor of same-sex marriage and these sorts of things. The divorce rate is highest among Protestants, Baptist, Jews, and born-agains, 34, 30, 29, and 27% divorce rate, compared to atheists and agnostics, 21%. That's from a Barna study in 1999. And this seems to me to be a proven failure. A recent study that's in press in the American Journal of Society correlated divorce rates with conservative Protestantism in the United States. And it raised some interesting points. It said that youth marriages and marriages based on unwanted pregnancies are common among these folks, and they are correlated with high divorce rates. Interestingly, the cultural climate in the counties where there's high degrees of Protestantism has actually affected the divorce rates of the non-Protestants in those counties. So it's like a poison, poisoning other folks.
I just want to say that I think the Christian divorce rate is a great argument for premarital sex.
Right.
Because if you are raised in the tradition of believing that sex is this dirty, shameful thing until you get married and then it's a beautiful rite, of sacrament or whatever, if you are a kid who really wants to get laid, as a lot of teenagers do, a lot of kids will wind up rushing into marriage because I think we all know that that marrying the first person you fall for under 20 is not necessarily a great recipe for a lasting marriage.
Absolutely.
Whereas, if you get a chance to sow your oats, so to speak, and you actually get to pick your lifelong partner based on intelligent evaluation, I think it can wind up leading to a much stronger relationship, whether you're gay or straight.
Yeah, and there's quite a bit of research on, delaying marriage actually leads you to have a lower divorce rate. Mm-hmm. The authors in this study actually pointed out there's kind of an entrapment going on of these young people where they're sort of forced into marriage and sexual relationships that they're not quite ready for, or childbearing responsibilities, and this is very, very difficult on a marriage. And so this sort of thing is I think a proven failure, and Christians I think realize that. You see a lot of hand-wringing about this sort of thing. Final thing I want to hit briefly here is kind of turning women into childbearing machines. And everybody knows there is no God who can make children. If there were a thing,
except that one time.
Except that one time, right? Well, we wouldn't be arguing about the existence of God if God were making babies, right? But having more babies is a good thing for parasites because they're always hungry for more hosts, more blood to suck on. So there's this focus on a man's authority in the bedroom and contraceptive misinformation and wresting reproductive control from women, and effectively co-opting her organs to make more babies for the religion. And I see this going on, and it's really kind of a sad thing. And the sad and ironic thing is that women have more real power here. They have the power to make babies, yet they're giving up this power to the patriarchy and the religion, that's using them for a means to an end. And I think this is very, very sad. And there is an alternative, Christian women. Atheists don't treat women like cattle. Okay, just FYI, we won't treat you like cattle. So you get this whole idea of an arrow of God, and this kind of gets into kind of a creepy aspect of this childbearing thing, and that is, let me read a quote here. This is from Psalm 127. Behold, children are a heritage from the Lord, the fruit of the womb, a reward. Like arrows in the hand of a warrior, they are the children of one youth. Blessed is the man who fills his quiver with them. And these and other Bible quotes, like the "Go forth and multiply, be fruitful and multiply," have led to this movement called the Quiverful movement, which is kind of I would call it a high octane distillation of the ambient Christian attitudes towards childbearing. The movement itself is not very big, but it certainly does amplify and bring out a lot of the attitudes of, you're gonna make babies for God, And so women are thought of as blessed vessels, that's their sort of purpose in life, and that's what they're supposed to be doing. And so women are used to make babies, and the babies are used to perpetuate the religion, and that's really what's going on here. And not only are both of these people being used as tools, they're being used as weaponized tools. Notice the arrows of God thing, and this whole movement is associated with phrases like raising an army for God and these sorts of things, and they sort of feel like they're in a fight. So these women are popping out babies and they feel like they're warriors, which is kind of a weird twist of what's going on, I think. Fortunately, we have authors like Catherine Joyce and Vicki Garrison who have done a good job of exposing not only what's going on, but the attitudes and kind of getting at what's going on there. And the children, I think, are also exploited here too, and this gets into the indoctrination thing. You see that there's a lot of interest from Christians when the baby's in the womb, and almost no interest until they're of the age where they can be indoctrinated. So 2-year-old babies are not too interesting to Christian leaders, and I think that this kind of belies their intent, right? If they really cared about human life and about babies, they'd be very interested in 2-year-olds, but they're not. There's not much support for those sorts of folks. They want to have religious authoritarian households where the babies are sort of told to follow the father and believe and obey. And they want to have homeschooling or church-based indoctrination starting at an early age when the kids are old enough to be indoctrinated. That's when things get interesting again. And there's more to be said here. Tracy hit this on episode 832, which was not too long ago. And I think this childbearing enterprise is not yet a failure. In fact, it's actually a bit of a success. The Catholics have been doing it for years, but I think it's going to backfire at some point. I think the women are going to wake up and say, hey, I don't need to be doing this anymore. So I think using people shows the moral depravity of Christianity and its parasitic nature. And since religion clearly needs to use people, it shows that they don't even believe in an all-powerful God that will provide for them and is complete and will do these things. Instead, they market hatred and do their best to control everybody's reproduction in a desperate attempt to hold on to power. That's what I see as a desperate attempt to hold on to power. And ultimately, those being used resent it, and they will rid themselves of the bloodsuckers eventually. And praise Jesus. Anyway, so using people is just another failure of Christianity.
Thank you, Don.
Sure.
We're going to callers. We've got Leah in Los Angeles. How are you, Leah? Hello? Oh, wait. Leah? This button.
We've got button
Leah.
problems.
Hello?
Sorry,
Yes,
the button is sticky this
We can
week.
hear you now.
Okay. So my opinion of using people is everyone use someone, and it could be in a good or bad way. It depends on the person.
Maybe.
Okay.
Using is kind of a strong word. I mean, needing people and interacting with people and having relationships with people, I think, is a good thing. But those things need to be consensual, right?
Yes, and it is most of the time, right? If it's good.
Okay, well, the thing I'm talking about is not consensual, right? The type of use I'm talking about, right? So that's the distinction. Maybe I could have used a different word.
Okay. Well, the bad part of it, of course, I don't agree with, so.
Sure. So we're on the same page, right?
Yes.
So you agree that Christianity exploits people and uses people?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So, is there anything else you called about today?
No, just wanted to talk about that. I think that was a very good, interesting topic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. All right, Leah. Well, I guess we'll move on.
All right, thanks for calling.
Okay.
Take care.
All right. Bye.
Rich in Atlanta.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you guys today?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm great. So I think it's a little bit of divine intervention that I called on my particular topic.
Doubt it.
Because at first I didn't think it correlated, but now that I hear what you guys are discussing, I think it falls right in line. And that is, I think that religion is good for society.
We don't.
Okay, go ahead.
And don't you have your own version of it?
No. Well, I mean,
So
it depends
what are
on
you doing today?
it depends on what you mean by religion exactly.
Well, I know that, in my particular church, the idea of having just a social group is kind of, it does permeate. And
Okay,
I know that
I agree. I agree that social groups are good for society. So we're together so far.
Okay. Do you think that your social group, being an anti-God related social group, is good for society?
Sure.
Atheists don't believe in God, so we're skeptics. If you
Right,
have
I understand.
if you have some evidence for it, we'd love to hear it. If not, I can point at all. I can point at like thousands of failures.
I guess my evidence is purely the history of the religion, in particular my society. I can't say across the board because I'm not in agreement with all religions. For instance, the Incan religion and the Mayan religion probably wasn't so good for society.
So you
and
don't
that's why
think
they're
that
no longer
religion?
there.
So you don't think religion in general is good for society, just mainly Christianity?
Or what religion do you think is good for society? How about that?
I think there are several that are good for society. I'm not here to debate Christianity because I think I'm willing to pass the card to you guys. I think you're probably more biblically knowledgeable than I am. But I think in my particular society, which is Christian, obviously, I'm calling from Atlanta, we are in the Bible Belt, let's be honest. And in my society, I think that the religion, and even in your opinion, the indoctrination, is good for the general public.
Okay, don't agree.
And why not?
Religion is largely based on faith, and that's not a good reason to build anything. That's not something that you'd build anything on. That's a good reason to be wrong, right?
Right. I think there are a number of notably negative influences that religion has on society. I mean, and I'm not saying that religion functioning as a social club is necessarily bad, because we agree that social clubs are good things for people's mental well-being. But we're going to part company when it comes to believing stuff without evidence and passing on that belief through widespread groups, because in a lot of cases it leads to opposition to science, it undermines education, and it tends to sort of create in-groups and out-groups that can wind up persecuting minority members of the community. So I'm not on board with that stuff.
And I've got a lot longer list too.
Yeah, 21 episodes of them.
Yeah. Go ahead.
In my particular circle, I tend to circle with intellectuals. First of all, I'd like to preface this by saying I'm a huge fan of your show.
Thanks.
A lot of theists that I know are huge fans of your show.
Okay.
Some do consider it giving them ammo in debate. However, for me, I just like to test what I believe, and I applaud you guys for having the show. I'm an avid listener. Kudos for me.
Well, that's awesome.
I mean,
Anyway,
I think that's admirable.
But what I would like to say is that I believe that human beings are more than just meat sacks. In other words, we have a spiritual side to ourselves.
I don't know what spiritual means.
You don't. You don't have anything beyond what you can touch or feel, like emotions even?
I have emotions. What does
You
that
think
have
they're
to
all
do with
brain
being
stimulants?
spirit?
Pardon me?
Well, I have emotions. What has that got to do with a spirit?
It's just something beyond yourself. It's another element to being a human being that's just beyond this, current understanding, this current dimension. It's something. I mean,
I'm pretty sure I have all the standard properties of being human, including the stuff that you're talking about. But I don't think that it has anything to do with anything supernatural. So I don't describe it as spirit-based.
Do you think that we are simply highly evolved animals?
Yes.
Yes.
So do you think our spiritual side is any different than an animal's spiritual side?
I don't
If
know
there's
what a
such thing-
spiritual side is.
It's such a muddy, convoluted, messy term that it's become meaningless. So if you have a definition, then we can talk about that definition. That's what we're kind of fishing for.
Okay, I don't know if I can come up with a 1 or 2 sentence definition, but what I will say is that based on my own experience, we are vastly different than animals.
I
In other
will
words, we
agree
have
with
art,
that.
music, we worship a creator for the most part.
Well, we don't.
across the board.
So if
probably-
that's your standard for being different from
We have
animals, then I
culture.
guess I'm not.
And that's-
but
and that's-
yeah, culture is cool.
We have
And that's
culture.
what I'm saying is that religion is a part of the culture, and it's important. It's an important part. It's the spiritual
It's
part.
important to a lot of folks, yes.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
mythology is an important part of culture also. Wouldn't you
Right,
agree
I
with
agree.
that? I mean, you know, stuff like the Iliad and the Odyssey, believing in Zeus, and you know, a lot of religions which are clearly not true,
Exactly.
and you and I would both agree, are culturally significant and worth knowing about. But that
Now,
doesn't
what-
mean that we should accept them as true and create and make our clubs specifically dedicated to propping up these beliefs that that aren't correct. And
And
you'd
so
agree
your
with that?
opinion is that we should make our club purposefully propping up the fact that everyone's an idiot, basically.
No.
Is what, like, you know, I mean, because there are religions all over the planet. I mean,
Right,
you know,
and
guys
you
are
and I
basically saying-
agree.
And they all
you
can't
and
be
I
right,
agree
right?
that most of them are wrong.
Right, yeah. But
So-
your
so
guys'
you don't think
platform
they're
is
all idiots?
Everyone else is morons, and
No.
you guys are all just doing it wrong.
No,
I mean,
you're saying that,
we're open
not
to
me.
evidence.
Right.
So you
Now,
know,
another thing is, you know, in my personal experience, I'm one of the statistics of 80% that left the church. I'm from Atlanta. You know, I was raised in the church Baptist, and in my college years became very intellectual. And I've always been just a thinker and a questioner. But it was when I had children that it became very important from a social and a societal.
the
point of view,
free
you know what I
daycare, is that what you're talking about?
I'm talking about indoctrination, which is exactly what you guys are talking about.
So, did the information that you had about the existence of a God change when you had a kid?
No, the information, it's not just information, it's a spiritual connection that
Okay.
I felt that I was exposed to as a child, which I have great admiration for my religion for giving to me, because it allowed me to experience other dimensions of myself, namely
Right.
the spiritual dimension. And I'm happy for that. I mean,
So-
I'm so thankful for that. And then when I had children, I want to give them the same abilities to explore that spiritual side of themselves.
Okay, I have
And
a
in my
child,
particular-
and
in my
he.
particular
Okay,
society-
so my
in my
son
partic-
doesn't. So my son doesn't go to church or anything.
Okay.
What's he missing, or what am I missing?
From a community standpoint, a lot, I think. But that
He's
depends
got
on
a
your
community.
That depends on your community. If you live
Well,
in my
well, wait a
community,
minute.
you'd
You're
be missing out a
you're
great deal.
saying you said at the beginning that you think the atheist community of Austin is a religion, right?
I think you're building a social network.
Okay,
That's what you're
so
talking about.
do you think that in a completely secular context, without bringing up any of this spirit stuff, I can still provide him with the same useful community
No.
that you don't? Okay,
No.
all
You
right,
want me to cite a specific reason?
sure,
Godless bitches.
yeah.
Does your son know about that?
Yep.
I mean, I have 2 daughters, so I would never, I cannot allow my daughters to listen to your show because.
Well, I'm sorry
it's
to
an
hear
R-rated
that. He
show.
can.
I mean, you know.
I'm sorry you keep your kids in the dark so much.
Yeah, that's an example of indoctrinating your kid. I think.
Exactly. I don't want my
Yeah.
kids using filthy language.
So actually, you're not bringing more to them. You're actually shielding them from more stuff.
Correct.
You're
Yes.
So
hiding
is-
them from
is-
the world.
is
So this
godless
spiritual
filthy or
thing,
is-
this spiritual
is
thing that
bitches
you're talking about, is actually covering up a certain part of the world and keeping them from knowing about it.
Oh, definitely. I want to cover up sin. I don't want them to know about it.
Okay. Wow.
I mean,
I
do
don't
you
agree with
show
your parenting
do you show
approach.
your son pornography? I mean,
Not,
You say, hey, it's out
not
there,
at the
go ahead and
current
look at it.
time, but I expect he will start at some point, and that won't bother me.
It won't?
Nope.
See, to me, that
Pornography
goes
is
back to the
all
religion.
American, dude.
That goes back to the religion, and I think certain of the laws and the rules are put there for your own good. You know, I mean, I think pornography
Okay.
leads to sex trafficking, and you were talking about using
I
women.
disagree.
And
How about,
Okay.
how about God's command?
pornography? You don't think the pornography industry uses people? Then you are in the dark, my
Well,
friend.
it does.
To an extent,
At least they
yes.
get paid, but you know,
But I'm
maybe
saying
they're
that, they get
consenting.
paid. Yeah, okay.
So,
Okay.
you know, your God commands to kill witches. Is that a good thing?
I don't
do you-
like the use of my God versus your God, and I'm not here to defend any particular.
don't
I'm
have
not
a
an
God.
Okay, the
apologist
God of the
for-
Bible, which you've advocated, right?
Like I just said, I'm just kind of going with the flow as far as my community is, and I think religion has is a good part of the community.
Right, but let's not pretend that the religion is adding something extra, because by everything you've said, the function of religion in a child's life is to subtract stuff, and
No,
that's
it's to
very
add to that
different
spiritual
from.
dimension. It's to add to that spiritual dimension.
And
Yes,
again,
the
I don't
subtracting-
think that
so
is
you're
a
telling
thing.
me you have no rules for your son.
No, I'm
rules.
not claiming that.
So you subtract, obviously, things that could hurt him
Sure, to an extent.
from his experience. You're
Right.
not letting him play with knives, and I mean, I don't know how old your son
That's
is. My
true,
son
and
was a
I'm
teenager.
doing that without bringing spirit into it. So again,
But there are
And
other
by
dimensions
providing
to the
reasons.
human experience. Like, okay, obviously physical, knives equal physical. Porno equals mental. You know, I
Okay.
mean, there is a physical act of looking at the picture, but it's more about keeping someone's inner self pure in a way that they can be honorable as a person and not contribute to, evil.
I
So-
don't,
I'm
I don't
not
see that there's
teaching.
I don't
I'm
see
not
that religion
teaching
has any
my
role
son.
in that. Personally.
I'm not teaching my son that sex is evil.
No, I'm not teaching my kids that sex is evil, but porno is definitely evil. It leads to some
Disagree.
very evil things in society. I don't think it's, it has a really good place in society.
It
I
does.
mean-
Wait, it does or it doesn't have a good
It
place?
does not
in,
have a
it
good
doesn't.
place in society.
Okay, I don't agree.
Killing
Would you
witches.
agree that it
Did
leads to
killing
sex
witches have a
trafficking?
good place in society?
Pardon?
Did killing witches have a good place in society?
I'm not a part of a religion that kills witches.
Yeah,
Yeah, you are.
No, but I've never seen a witch killed.
But
Okay.
your
And if
but
I
your
saw a
holy
witch killed,
book.
I would walk away and say, I don't want to be a part of that religion.
Okay,
So
but
that-
do
as
you
far as my
agree
own
that the Bible
experience, no.
says you should kill witches?
Well, I mean, I know people that are involved in Wicca, for instance.
Yeah, but the
And I
Bible
guess those
says
people
that,
would be
right?
Considered witches. So, but I don't go around killing anyone. My Bible says don't kill. It's one of the 10 Commandments.
Yeah, but
your
what
Bi-
does
your
it
Bible
say
has mixed
about
messages then.
witches?
What does that say about your God? If it's got
Do you know the
if you
verse
can't-
we're talking
Trying to wedge in
about?
a thing about the Bible, and I told
Do
you
you
I'm
know
not
the
trying to
verse we're
defend
talking
Christianity.
about?
I'm trying to say that religion has a place in society that is positive.
Okay,
I'm not talking about Christianity here.
but not the Bible.
I mean, I didn't even bring up the Bible. I said religion has
Okay.
a particular place in society.
Do you
I
think that
is
the
positive.
Bible is? Do you think that the Bible legitimately outlines what Christianity is?
In my society, religion has played a very positive role, and no witches have been killed.
Okay.
Okay.
But you don't
Okay.
agree with Exodus 22:18.
You have, like I said before, you have more biblical knowledge than I do.
Okay,
You can
but-
quote it and tell me what it says. I
It
don't know
says-
what Exodus 22 is.
Exodus 22:18 says, "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live." You would reject that, right?
I haven't read it in context.
Okay.
The context is this is a command from God. Okay,
Here's the
that's
deal.
the context.
When even my own preacher brings to me a particular verse, I don't really, that's not, I'll need to do biblical study around that verse and
Okay.
see what it means.
Check
so
out
your
Exodus
morality
22.
is
It's a-
better than your God's, right?
Pardon?
Your morality is better than your God's. Because you would
Okay.
ignore a direct command from your God and do what's right.
Well, here's what I don't like. The whole your God, your deal. You're taking it back to a particular religion. I'm just saying spirituality is a part of the human experience, and I think that religion has done a great part throughout the history as far as allowing people to express this side of
Well,
themselves. And you want to say my God, this God, that God. I'm talking about God, not the God or a God. I'm talking about just God, religion, this, spirituality, the side of humanity that you have to admit exists.
Did you know that?
Actually,
Did you know that religious
don't.
belief in societies are correlated with lower life expectancy, higher STDs, higher teen pregnancies, higher teen suicides?
You can send me your statistics, but statistics can be skewed in either way.
This is a correlation.
I've heard statistics that, contrary to that, especially the STD part, I would say that societies that don't adopt a good religion or a religion, it's like the Judaic law and stuff. It was there basically to
I
keep
think
people
this
healthy,
is something that you're
I mean,
objectively mistaken about. I mean, for instance, there have been a lot of studies that show that in areas like Atlanta, Georgia, which support, and to be fair, Texas, which support abstinence-only education, teen pregnancy goes up and STDs go up.
So you think multiple sexual partners equals lower STDs and lower...
No,
Sex education equals lower.
Yeah, I think comprehensive sex education and intelligently using birth control and disease control does lower that stuff.
I agree with you on that.
Okay, so we're agreed on
But we have
that.
to define what sex education is also.
But
I do agree.
the ambient religion here in the U.S. promotes these things.
Of sex education, birth control, all that stuff, and
Okay.
I've remained STD free.
Okay.
I
But
hope
then
you've
again,
taught
I've
your
only had
kids
one
that.
sexual partner, so,
So
I
you're-
hope you've taught your kids, or will teach your kids that when they're old enough, despite
Of
what your
course.
church thinks.
So it seems to me you're not advocating for a particular religion.
correct.
Yeah, because once it becomes concrete and shows its failures, then you want to wash your hands of it, which is a
It's
bit
not that I wanna
dishonest, I
wash my
think.
hands of it. It's that I want to acknowledge that mankind has a spiritual side, and we need a social network in order to express that.
We definitely are social animals. I'm with you there. The spiritual thing I just don't get. Right?
Well, now what I don't get is why
Spirit
you have
used
such
to
a
mean
speed.
breath. It used to mean breathing.
Pardon?
So I'm breathing, therefore I have a spirit.
Hey, if the Humanitarian Universalist Congregation of Atlanta had a massive influence in my particular area, I might be open to it. But what I'm saying is, your organization is failing in a couple of areas, and that is you cannot gain popularity by using profanity, by not making it family friendly, and not doing anything but except arguing all the time.
One of my favorite quotes is, "The color of truth is gray," and the meaning of that is, you don't have to put lipstick on the truth. You don't have to dress it up and make it look good.
Exactly.
And if people aren't flocking to the truth because it's gray, that's their loss.
Well, you've just basically shined a huge light on what I'm saying, and that is, if you look around, you're going to see people flocking, especially in my area, to Jesus. And that, to me, isn't terrible.
Well, in the meantime, the reality
especially for my
is that
children.
in the last 5 years, the religiously unaffiliated has grown by a fairly significant amount. People
what
are
are they
leaving
doing?
religion in droves, and I don't
But what are they
necessarily
doing
know that
besides
they're
just
turning to
talking?
atheism, although a number of them are turning to atheism. The atheist movement is small, but it's increasing in popularity, so I think you're mistaken that speaking out about it can't make it more popular.
Okay, I see what you're saying as far as speaking out, but what I'm saying is it's unattractive, and most people are like, going to say, well, I have a spiritual side, and I want to express that.
Well, no,
And
we're not based on
basically denying-
charisma and false promises and these sorts of things that might appeal to some people. That's
Pardon?
correct. We're atheism is not based on charisma. It's not based on false promises about afterlife. It's not based on lies and manipulation and these sorts of things. So yeah, it's kind of bland in that respect.
Now, one other thing when you talk about lies and manipulation, which I thought was really funny, and this is just a comic interlude, but the other day, Matt was on the show. Maybe it was the other day. Maybe I was listening to an archived episode, but he said if you have children in the room, shield their ears or make them leave, and then he started talking about Santa Claus. And
Right.
I thought thought
I
that
act-
was ridiculous because if you guys teach your children about Santa Claus,
He was
I
probably
don't,
joking.
actually.
He was probably joking. Okay.
I think,
Don't take it too literally.
I think as a parent who didn't teach my kid about Santa Claus, my main concern would be other parents have the right to fool their kids for a while, and and we don't believe in usurping their parental authority.
But when he uses foul language, he doesn't say, make sure your kids are out of the room. He just blatantly uses it.
Don't care.
So, really, you want your kids talking like that?
No, I tell my son what's appropriate in polite company, and he's in trouble if he uses words in the wrong context.
Wow.
And that's something you got to learn, you know.
I have to just mill that over because that doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, my thing is just, don't use foul language. Just why not just blanket it? You know?
Well, you notice we haven't used any with you because we're sensitive to your.
I was really hoping that I'd get Matt and that he would use my name over and over and call me out.
I'm sorry, we're the nice ones.
You're welcome to call back.
Use the foul
Right,
language,
yeah.
so
Matt will be
argument
on
with you
next
guys.
week. He can curse up a storm at you.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I mean, do you guys have anything else for me? Because it's been a really enjoyable talk. Like I said,
I've enjoyed it too. And feel free to call back, Rich. But we're gonna move on to another caller now.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for your call.
Thanks.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Lyle in Dallas.
Yeah, how you guys doing? First of all, I'm a huge fan. You guys are do a great service to the community.
Well, thank you. What's up?
Not a problem. I'll be real quick about this call. I wanted to first just real quick pimp this. Last year, a meta-analysis was done by Professor Zuckerman. I won't go into detail about it, but it's worth Googling. It's really eye-opening. So throw that out there for you and your listeners.
Is this Phil Zuckerman?
Myron Zuckerman.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
And I mean, he goes through 63 different scientific studies based on the correlation between intellect and religiosity. But anyways.
Okay. I mean, what? Do you want to just say a word about why that would be of interest?
Yeah. Well,
what are the
finding?
conclusion?
It's like you told me the method, but not the finding.
Yeah, sure. I didn't want to pivot too much, but yeah, sure. Well, the findings were of the 63 scientific studies that he reviewed, 53 found a direct negative correlation between IQ and religiosity. It cites, again, all the different studies, but in several, like one by Professor Niebuhr, who he is he studies intellect, but he found that between the difference between atheist IQ and those dogmatically religious, in a study of a little over 7,000 people, showed a 5.89% higher IQ in atheists, 3.82% higher IQ over a liberally religious, and so on.
I prefer to be kind of careful about tossing those kind of things around, just because, like, the last caller threw out there that we're just a group of people who calls other people morons.
Sure.
And I don't think we do that. I mean, we
try not to.
We think they're incorrect, but I know some very smart Christians and I know some very dumb atheists. So
absolutely.
But yeah. I'm willing to check out the study and accept that the correlation might be there.
I think what may be really going on is that that the more worldly you are, in the sense of being exposed to different religions and different beliefs and different claims and different ways of evaluating evidence, that leads you to a broader education, and a better education leads you to better conclusions. That's kind of how I would frame that. And it may be that people with higher IQ pursue academic careers or get that education or are hungry for those sorts of that sort of knowledge. I wouldn't say that that lets you say that religious people are dumb, right?
Sure. Not on the individual level. I completely accept that. And you're probably right in why those generalities exist. But I only need to mention that meta-analysis, I guess, to go into the point that there's two different thought processes on how to approach a debate with a theist. And you guys are some of the very best at it, so I'm not questioning the way you do it at all. However, like, for instance, Sam Harris said, when you're in a job interview, if you say you believe in Jesus, nobody bats an eye. But if you say you believe in Elvis, you suffer immediate consequences.
Yeah.
And I think that's important because the best way to, it seems like the best way to change your mind is to induce self-reflection. And ridicule, it produces like an immediate negative reaction, but eventually it would invoke that self-reflection. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, I think in the broader topic of convincing people, I think all sorts of approaches, yield some results, and it's worth pursuing all sorts of angles. Humor is a good one. Ridicule is good in the sense that, it kind of slams somebody into a brick wall and gets them to think, hopefully, and it has its place. So I'd say, do whatever you're best at, do whatever you think works, and try to make headway.
Yeah, and I think that having a general academic knowledge of what should work on people is no substitute for practice of just going out there and talking to people and seeing what kind of feedback you get. And I encourage people to have those kind of conversations.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you guys again. You guys, like I said, you help promote critical thinking throughout your community and, at this point, the rest of our country. So thank you very much for the service you guys do.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. We try.
See ya.
Yeah.
Who
else
I
we got?
think
Russell?
he also mentioned that he was going to ask about how to start a public access show, and we had another caller that we didn't take because we thought we were going to take that topic twice. If it's specifically about starting a public access show, I think my first advice would be don't start a public access show. Start a podcast instead, and that's just because.
Or a blog or something, right?
Well, I mean, if you want to actually be talking,
Uh-huh.
I think that podcasting is cheaper and more viable right now. But I mean, I'm not saying that you shouldn't take advantage of the public access network in your area. If you have one, that's great. But a lot of them are under the gun with regards to funding. And I know that several studios around the country have disappeared. And I think that going forward into the future, having an internet presence is going to be a lot more helpful in the long run. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. A lot of folks have made a lot of headway with like using video channels.
Yes, YouTube channels.
Arn Raw is a good one.
Right.
Leah Soup. There's a lot of these that are just high quality
Google
stuff.
Hangouts will, it's free and it will automatically record it to your YouTube channel, and you can do it with multiple people in different places, or you can have one decent camera hooked up to your computer that will do everything for you.
Yeah, the folks Trolling with Logic do that. For example. Yeah.
But last week, I think I addressed a similar question with Linnea when we were talking via Google Hangout to a group in Kentucky, I think. The Louisville Atheists. And Linnea made the point that the most important thing to getting a show up and running is get yourself a schedule and force yourself to stick to it no matter what, even if you think that, even if you're not feeling up to it and the content's going to be crap that day.
A lot of it is showing up.
Right.
Yep. Regularly, right?
Okay, that's all we'll say
Yes.
for now.
Let's take another
we got to
call.
move on to other callers. I'm going to go to, Joshua in the Dominican Republic.
Wow. Josh, are
Hey,
you there?
guys.
Hi.
Can barely hear you.
Oh,
now, yeah.
okay.
So, huge fan from a long time ago. And I've been in this situation, especially with my dad. Well, actually with the whole town. Like, me and a cousin that I have, which is 13 years old. We are the only people, non-theists, that I know. It is, like, really huge. So, the thing is that I don't ever, since I was, like, all my life, till I was, like, 18 years old, I've always was very devoted Christian, very crazy with the idea of Jesus and everything. But since I moved to Santiago, which is another town from where I live, I had to do it by myself. There was no church and anything. And I started to actually read the Bible. And then I discovered all the books.
Oh, no!
Right?
That's your usual path.
Oops, my bad. So, but still, my dad, he lives there in USA, and he has sort of a combination of Chinese, Buddhist, Christian beliefs. And the thing is that the dude is really talented in a way, like he can go from A to C really easily. And for example, there was one thing that he once told me that I was like, I don't know what to say about it, that he was once driving highway with my mom. She was pregnant of me, and he was going really high speed, like 180, he told me. And he has this feeling in his heart, whatever he calls, that he should slow down. And he did. And a few seconds later, a huge truck was all the way in the highway, and he had time to actually stop. These kind of things, like, that actually happens. I mean, you see this sometimes. Oh, you can never actually record it, but you know that sometimes things that you call coincidence, that people call it miracle or whatever, happens. How you deal with that? I mean, can be coincidence, can be that he just thought like, hey, I'm going too fast, I should stop, and right away that happened, or whatever. Like, how you deal with this type of argument, which has some sense because it happens, but it doesn't mean that there is a being up there and everything.
No, I mean, yeah.
You want to take it?
Well, I mean, you know, there are also a lot of incidents where people have sudden feelings to slow down and they were in no danger at all. And there are also incidents where people don't have that feeling and they die. But you don't hear about those stories. You don't wind up hearing about those stories about the people who died as evidence for God. Like, there are a lot of people. There are a lot of people in the world, and there are a lot of decisions that they make from day to day. We also don't know for sure that your dad would have died if he hadn't slowed down. Maybe he would have had the presence of mind to swerve off the road and would have gotten lucky there.
Right.
And equally would have viewed that as a miracle.
So the greater point here is that this story that you hear has been filtered, right? It's been filtered through a billion experiences that this person had that he just didn't think was relevant or didn't remember or didn't confirm this kind of mystical feeling within him. And these stories tend to have legs where they get repeated, and you hear them often secondhand and third hand, and you know they're repeated forever. And you know,
well, this doesn't happen because, for example, he now is studying this The Secret.
Oh no!
And he applies it.
Got another double face palm for you.
I mean, you know what I mean? He's very lucky, I will say, because I mean, most of the things. Well, it's just his word. I mean, I don't even live with him, but you know, I don't think that he will just lie to me to pretend anything. So, assuming just for sake of the argument that he's actually happening all those things, like. How I'm going to deal with the fact, because for him, those things that I call coincidence, he calls fact. But he doesn't take into account the fact that don't happen. So how do you...
there are some good books on that. Enumeracy is a good one.
Enumeracy is a great book. Also, Richard Dawkins' Unweaving the Rainbow talks about coincidences and the appearance of being miraculous a lot. But I think we're going to have to wrap this up because we're running out of time, and I want to get one more call in.
Yeah. So those books, Enumeracy, Unweaving the Rainbow, and Demon Haunted World would be my recommendations to you.
Yeah, great books.
They'll give you some ammunition to counter this.
Okay, totally going to check it out.
All right.
Well, thank you so much, guys.
Good luck to you.
Okay, see ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, Murtaza from Dubai has been waiting patiently for a really long time, and so I think you're getting the last call of the show.
Thanks for taking me, guys. Let me start by saying I really love your show, and I've been watching it for a while, and I've wanted to call in for ages.
Okay.
I have a question about in a secular society, if you want to eliminate all religion, how can you do that? How can you replace the comfort that people get from believing in God? Like, if they're in a tough situation, what else can they, like, you know, hope for or believe in instead of basically instead of religion?
First of all, I mean, I don't think I would say that we're out to, like, just obliterate religion necessarily. I think, I can't remember if it was Richard Dawkins originally or P.Z. Myers who said, you know, I'd just like to reduce it to a level of importance that is similar to knitting. You know, I would like it if people didn't put so much of their, you know, of their identity into religion, and so much of their basic life principles into this idea that a God exists.
But as far as things to hope for and things, you know, I think that religion gives you a lot of false hope in the sense that it provides you with things to look forward to that aren't likely to happen, or there's no evidence that it's going to happen, or and some of these comforting things like, oh, you're going to see your loved ones in the afterlife. These things are falsehoods, and I don't think that they're a good thing. And I think that once people realize that reality is worthwhile and a good thing, and we can cope with reality and we can help each other out, you know, I think that that's what we really should be striving for. So,
I mean, I know a couple of people that have told me stories about earlier in their life. Basically, my uncle, for example, he's a Muslim, and he told me that, like, for example, in college he was having a financial, like, hard spot. He needed money every day. He didn't know where his meal was coming from, and he says that the only thing that got him through that was praying to God every night and saying, you know, help me out through the next day. So, I mean, it might be false hope, but I guess it's actually giving people hope. It might be a placebo effect, or I don't know what to call it, but
yeah.
Right, but on the other hand, you have to balance that against all the kids who grow up living in terror of hell. I mean, you know, religion isn't all
terror
nice
of
stuff.
apostasy, right, in the Muslim world. Right?
yeah.
Right. I mean, yeah, you know, so on the one hand, it does give some people comfort at certain times in their lives. On the other hand, religion is a fairly big cause of despair in a lot of people. And, you know, how many stories have we heard about people for whom coming to atheism was just a huge relief from these fears that they had lived with all their lives. We're going to have to wrap it up on that note.
All right, well, sure, thanks for taking my call.
Okay.
Thank you for calling.
Sorry we were
no
so
problem.
quick.
I love this show, so
Okay.
I've been wanting to call in. Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye, guys.
Call
luck to
again
you.
sometime. That's our show. Thank you to our crew. We'll see you at Threadgills. Thanks again, Don. Great
I had
show.
fun. Thank you. Clear.
Okay. All right.
you.
Some after show calls.
You want to take a few? Okay.
Yes. We got.
Morgantown. I've been to Morgantown.
So we had another guy on the line who wanted to disagree with us about something, but he seems to have hung up.
We love disagreement.
We didn't want to do it for 5 minutes, though. So I would have talked to you after the show, but call back again next week if you're still watching on the internet. Kevin in West Virginia.
Hi, this is Kevin in Morgantown.
Yeah.
I'm part of the SSA group here in Morgantown. You know, Morgantown is kind of the Austin of West Virginia. It's the liberal
Okay.
bastion.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
basically, they passed, the House of Representatives in West Virginia passed a West Virginia Day of Prayer to coincide with the National Day of Prayer. And the SSA group's wondering what we should do about that. I mean, you know, on one hand, yeah, it's basically just saying, yeah, we're Christians too, but we were thinking, you know, we're trying to get either a petition signed or, you know, get the word out somehow, and I was wondering what you guys would think about what would you do in this situation? We want to get the word out saying, hey, this is a violation of church and state, and especially because the thing says we only, the national one, if you said we only allow Judeo-Christian prayer.
Our group here in Austin has picketed at the Capitol. They often don't get news, but if you do get some news, you might get some attention on the issue and say, hey, we're fighting for church and state, and church and state's a good thing. Everybody should be supporting it.
Yeah, you could what group is organizing this? Did you say?
We're the student.
Yeah, no, but the other side. Who's
it's actually,
supporting
it's
the day of prayer?
the House here. It was actually just a single representative. It passed by unanimous vote because West Virginia.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let elected officials pass this stuff.
Yes. Elected, yeah.
Well, first of all, unanimously, yeah. I mean, it's tough in a state like West Virginia or Texas, for that matter.
Yeah.
I mean, I can imagine getting the ACLU involved, but I don't know what they could do. I'd like to encourage more people of a secular persuasion to run for office against these guys, but I don't know how much good it would do in West Virginia.
Yeah. I mean, lawsuits is another challenge, another way to do it. I mean,
certainly it's not unheard of.
It's that sort of thing is illegal based on what I'm hearing from you.
Yeah, definitely. I'm actually not originally from West Virginia. I get from a school system, which sounds weird. But which, by the way, thank you guys. You're the reason why I'm in science. I'm an engineering student now. We don't really have an idea. We're trying to get a petition signed and do mass phone calls to the representatives, but over the senators, for that matter, should they vote against it. But we don't really know what to do.
All right. Well, I think you're off to a good start. I wish I could be more help.
Well, the other side is very organized, and sometimes we're playing catch up in the situations like that, and so by all means, this is going to be a yearly thing, so you can be prepared for it next year and get ahead of the curve. Issue press releases, try to get it in the news, make a fuss.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of this until now. So, I mean, maybe some more internet publicity, like, take 2 more blogs in Reddit and raise some awareness among the atheist community in general. We're just a couple of guys. Maybe some other people would know more about it than we would if you bring it up in a larger context.
Okay, yeah. The water situation kind of covered the whole East area, and that's anyway. So.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you very much. You guys rock.
All right. Take care. Thank you.
You rock too. Let's see. There's one more guy on the line, actually, there's 3 more guys on the line. They're still calling in, but we're not going to take you all. Sorry.
We can't go on because we got to yield the studio.
We need to eat too. But Bart in the Netherlands, I think you're the last after show.
The last one. Bart, you there?
Yeah, I'm there.
Hey. Yeah, is this a short topic, or do you think you should maybe call?
I just want to say I believe in God because I finally got on the show.
Oh, thank you.
My topic was the internet and atheism.
It's great sitting next to Russell, I have to say.
They were winning the internet for atheism.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to try again another time?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Have fun in the restaurant.
All right.
Take care. Thank you for your call.
Bye.
All right. You know what? You can go if you want. I'm going to clear out these other lines and ask people to say something quick. Line 2. Say something.
Okay.
I hear okay. If you just said that, that's you.
No. Hello?
Hello, that's you.
What's the square root of the 19th Q of the 19th microwave?
I don't know. Line 3. Somebody say something on line 3.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, hello, can you hear me? That's what I heard.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, what's up? Make it quick.
How's it going? Can you hear me?
Yes, the show's over. I'm just going to give you enough time to say something fairly quick.
I want to go back to the subject you had of controlling people. I don't know have you ever heard of the... Yeah.
Yeah? Have I heard of what?
Yeah, what's up? Have you heard of the cult Scientology?
Yes. Turn off your stream so that we don't echo
Oh,
like
okay,
that.
that's why I'm getting confused with that. Yeah. Have you heard of the cult Scientology? I feel
Yes,
like
I'm against it.
They use the people that they in the religion to as marketing.
You're right.
And is that actually considered a real religion? Does anyone actually follow that?
Some
or?
places it's considered a real religion. I think some places in Europe it's specifically been declared to be a cult and banned. I think Germany has done that.
Yeah, good
for them. Right.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I just find it strange. Like I worked with a guy that was a Scientologist, and like his moral,
creepy.
like his morals were just crazy. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Call back some other time, and we can talk about it longer.
All right. I love your show, guys. It's awesome.
Love your show. Bye. Line 4.
Oh, Russell, you're a glutton.
Okay, we got one last guy. If the, wait.
Give it up, Russell.
Nope. Yeah. Okay. Line 4. And this is the last one.
Time for an
Yes,
intervention.
Yes, you.
Me?
Yes, you.
Okay, I was going to ask him if he believes that all men are equal.
If I believe in what?
If you believe that all men are equal.
All men are equal?
Yes.
Yes, but I don't think a creator made them that way.
Why do you say that?
Because I don't believe in a creator.
There has to be an arbiter. There has to be an arbiter to make sure that everyone is to create this equality, though.
I don't see why.
How many more minutes? The stream is running down. How many more minutes do you think I have? Do you think I could do the show?
None, really. I'm just flipping through the lines real quick. You should definitely call back next week.
What time do I call back? Around 4:30ish, right?
Yeah, a little earlier if you want to be pretty sure that the lines won't be full.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.